So we are talking Miami, Bama. We are heated discussion with everyone else, trying to figure out which team should have gone, which team shouldn't have, what have you. I think the big thing with the college committee is they look at three things. Between those two teams, they look at strength of schedule, they look at resume, and they look at eye test. And I think eye test was the ultimate factor in separating these two teams and why Miami dropped 6 spots down and they put Alabama right where they have them at. Winning record, a record against winning teams with a winning record, can't get that out. Bama is 6-1 and Miami is 3-1. Ranked worse, top 25. Alabama is 3-1 and Miami is 0-1 because Syracuse is now ranked in the top 25. So you have those two eye tests that those are both on Alabama's side. Now you can divide those up and be like, oh well, blah blah blah, who they played, who they lost to, what have you. But those two eye tests, I mean, those two arguments slide heavily on Alabama's side for the eye test aspect. Miami's defense, the all year long, really has kind of been like up and down, and losing 2 of the last 3 games and being up 21-0 against Syracuse on the road and end up losing that game. That doesn't sit well either. That looks, and I know it seems like, the committee's hard on Miami, but that's just not another eye test for them to be like, okay, put that on the Alabama side. They are really putting that defense under a microscope. I don't blame them because that is just not a good defense. The offense can score a bunch, but the defense is going to give up just as many, if not more. Hence the Syracuse game. McCord threw a birthday party in that game and just went off. My thing with Alabama is Bama's loss to Oklahoma, dominating loss to Oklahoma is getting trumped by 2 big key wins, and I think the Mizzou win and the South Carolina win are putting them just a little bit higher than they're hanging that Oklahoma loss, like right here. Because Mizzou, here throughout the season, has been like, okay, that team is getting where they need to be. That team could be considered a playoff team, and especially South Carolina, because some people thought South Carolina should jump Miami because of what South Carolina has done. They've won 4 of the last 5 games. They've beaten 4 top 25 ranked teams. And they're putting those 2 wins, Bama's wins against Mizzou and South Carolina, and they're kind of putting those here, and they're putting that loss against Oklahoma here. But I just think a lot of it had to do with the eye tests. Bama has a better strength of schedule. Bama has a couple other categories better than Miami, and I think what really truly separated those 2 teams is what the eye test brought to the table and what Miami brings and what Alabama brings. And they both went really good, deep dissective into that, and it just looks like Bama has it. Now, do I think either one should get in? I would go with Bama. I think Miami, with the ACC being what it is, I think SMU is going to get in. I don't think Miami would have beaten SMU. I think SMU is just on this wild ride. I think they're going to get in. They're going to win. Do I think Bama's getting favored because they're Bama? A lot of people are thinking the College Football Committee is just giving it to Bama because they're Bama. All they know is how to say Roll Tide. I would give it to Bama. I think Bama just has a little bit more on the eye test. I think with their wins against winning record teams and wins against top 25 teams compared to Miami, I really think the ugly loss to Syracuse is being held over their head. I give that a kryptonite in their playoff hopes. Now everyone's going to be like, well, we're not holding Bama's Oklahoma loss. I understand that, but Alabama has good wins that I would give just a slight percentage higher, in my opinion, that those wins would be a little higher than Alabama's loss to Oklahoma. So that's kind of where I stand with this whole thing. I'd really like to see what people think. I didn't even have Miami winning the ACC title game, so I wouldn't have had Miami in anyway. But those 2 losses for Miami are going to be brutal, and I think the Georgia Tech and the Syracuse loss were bad enough losses. Like, both those games were just like not the normal Miami team, and that's going to be their kryptonite. And it's sad, but Bama just has a few more things, just a little bit, like it's a hair, skin of their teeth. So that's what I think about Miami, Alabama. Who should have gotten in, who shouldn't. Let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah.